Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of SecurityGuideTV.com with your host, Chuck Harrell. This is episode 1488. My next guest, Daniela Perlmutter. She's a VP of Marketing for Cyberint.com. Daniela, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here.
Always a pleasure to speak with you because you guys have some really cool stuff. Today we're going to talk about the connection between threat intelligence and threat hunting. Not the same things, and most people don't offer both, but I just suspect you do. Tell us all about that.
That is true. So Cyberint is really a threat intelligence-driven detection and response company. So that means we're a service provider of a threat intelligence suite, a proprietary technology of threat intelligence, which comes with also the identification and discovery of threats in the deep web, dark web, and open web, as well as weaknesses and threats that exist in the digital environment. And that really pose a huge risk on companies as they digitalize and become much more digital oriented with greater online presence and activity. The issue is that in addition to discovering and identifying the threats and weaknesses that companies have, that enterprises have, they need to also verify if they were compromised and if there's an internal threat as well, not only external threats. And this is why we're launching here at RSA a managed threat hunting offering. And really what that enables our clients is not only to understand what their external threat landscape looks like, which threats and campaigns, whether it's malware campaigns or phishing campaigns are out there targeting our clients, but also go and proactively hunt down threats within the organization. And this is really what sets us apart, because you rarely have threat intelligence companies who offer also threat hunting services. And you rarely see threat hunting companies who offer threat intelligence services with a robust threat intelligence suite, with the credibility and the number of services and the modular solutions that we have over the threat intelligence suite. So what we really do, if you think of it, every company wants to know what the threats are, which campaigns exist, what are the weaknesses in their environment, whether it's a digital environment or their internal IT, and whether their applications are penetratable. So, what are the entry points that an organization has? The second part that they want to understand is really verify their readiness, right? Is their cybersecurity team ready for a breach? And if they were compromised, how do they make sure that they detect this compromise as soon as possible, as early as possible, to contain an incident, to contain this compromise, in order to really minimize the damage, minimize the impact, and then carry on with the day-to-day business? And the last part that organizations need is actually to act upon the intelligence. So if you think of it, threat hunting, on the one hand, it's detecting the internal threats and compromises internal in the organization's environment. And on the other hand, it also enables the immediate response, because once there's an internal threat that was detected, we immediately contain that incident or that malware, whatever we find, and remediate and help the company remediate, and then carry on with their business as usual. So it's the detection and response. And this is why we are an intelligence-driven detection and response, because we use the threat intelligence really to drive everything that we do, every action. We actually apply the intelligence into actions for our clients.
So if I'm a CISO and I have 100 different cybersecurity programs on my network, I'm going to have a lot of threat intel programs, but I'm not going to have a lot of hunting programs. I don't hear that very often. I'm no genius, but I interview a lot of people and I don't really hear this part of it. And isn't that the most important thing? It's great to block the guy, but you got to go find him so he doesn't do it again. And I think this seems unique to me. Am I right?
You're very right. And also when we talk to our clients and when we talk to prospects and also analysts, Gartner as well has mentioned it several times, that threat management is also about hunting down threats and going proactive about it, because knowing is not enough. So as you said, there are lots of maybe threat intelligence feeds. There are a lot of threat intelligence platforms bringing together different feeds of intelligence, of indicators of threats. But there are very few that actually take that intelligence and apply it into action. And threat hunting is really applying it into action. So how does a threat hunt really take the threat intelligence into the next phase? If you think of it, let's take a use case. The simplest use case, okay, leaked credentials. And we've heard about so many data leaks and data dumps recently being publicized that have been found in the deep web or has been traded on dark web forums. So let's say a company knows that they have leaked credentials from their organization. Now, typically, what a threat intelligence only company would say is, look, we found those leaked credentials, and that's it, go and change the credentials. But the question that then we need to think is this data exfiltration, is this data leak still taking place? Is there a malware in the organization that is now still compromising the business? And that's where really threat hunting comes into play. Now, the fact that we have the strong threat intelligence enables us to actually define the threat hunt, which typically starts with a hypothesis of what is the campaign, what is the TTP, which means the tactic, the tool, and the procedure that a threat actor has taken to compromise the enterprise, and where exactly is the threat in the organization, and then, of course, contain it. So find it, hunt it down, and literally down by containing that compromise and removing it and enabling the business to carry on. So this is where we believe the threat intelligence cannot stop with the know-how and the visibility. It has to carry on with the response. And this is really where the managed threat hunting comes into place. And the reason we say it's managed threat hunting versus just a single threat hunt exercise is because we use third-party technologies, third-party EDR solutions, or endpoint detection and response solutions. We get the data from the alerts that come out of the EDR provider. And we also use a SOAR system to orchestrate and automate the different playbooks to respond in the most effective way to a compromise or an incident that we detected internally. So the idea is that the threat intelligence drives the threat hunt itself. Using the threat intelligence and the alerts that we get from the EDR solutions, we enrich and correlate the different data that we collect throughout the hunt. And then we're able to pivot the hunt based on the threat intelligence that we have to really identify the quickest way where the malware is or whichever compromise exists in order to contain it. And then the report that we provide is not simply what the hunt was, but actually which systems were compromised, what TTPs or threat actor tools, tactics, and procedures were adopted and executed by the threat actors to enable really to the organization to then take some remediation steps that would enable it to avoid such breaches in the future.
Daniela Perlmutter, Vice President of Marketing, Cyberint.com. Daniela, fascinating stuff. Threat intel and threat hunting put together. Fantastic. Brilliant idea. Good luck at RSA, booth 4425 in the Norix Expo, and maybe I'll see you at Black Hat.
Definitely. Looking forward to it.